Okay, so this is the halogen beams. Super bright, clearly. Bright. It's the power of the sun. I can literally see a park that's probably a quarter mile away, possibly farther. Can't really see the trees back here, and you can see the trees and the stumps back here. Sharper shadows, more detail everywhere. So these are the brightest LEDs on the market as of April 2nd, 2021, and it's super insane. Half of the reviews haven't even come out for them, but these are the Saber LED Prox 55 watt version 2s. The first version actually had already super crazy reviews. It was the best at one point, but then it got beat out. Now the version 2 is even brighter. And if you're running projector lenses, it's really, really, really bright, which is a problem with LEDs usually because HIDs have always been better than LEDs when it comes to projector housings. If you have a reflector housing, then LEDs don't really have an issue, but these are so bright that they actually beat out the top HID kits, which is insane for LEDs. And you probably shouldn't be running super, super, super bright LEDs on reflector housings because you're gonna blind everybody. So these are meant for super high beam, well, highly focused, not high beam. They work great in high beams too, but highly focused beam patterns, so these can go really far. They brighten up the whole road. I'm having to adjust the beam pattern right now and tinkering around a little bit because it was so bright that the light was reflecting off of the road first thing in the morning at like 5 a.m. and I couldn't even really see because my like night vision had adjusted. So I'm having to angle the beams up and I'm playing around with that, but they project really far. And then the high beams, it's like a truck's LED crazy bar, like LED bars all over your truck, just blasting away. So it's like the power of the sun in a little tiny car. So let's wait till night and go find some examples. And yeah, but these are not for the cheapos. So these are like 190 a piece, and getting 2 pairs is going to cost you pretty much close to $400 US, which is, I mean, if you want the best of the best, it's worth it. So it is expensive. So this video and these LEDs, these are not for people that want quick knockoff brand plug and play LED kits from Amazon or places like that. So if you want the best of the best, so far as of right now, this is it, and I'll show you some examples. So I probably did what many of you did, and you just Google brightest LED headlights, blah, blah, blah. So you'll come up with pretty much just pages that have stuff like this, and you click one of them, and you go down, and it's just going to show you these based on how many lumens. That's all they want to talk about is lumens. How many lumens? From some brands, they're good, some are not. You click like shop now, and oh look, it'll send you to an Amazon link. They don't care about the best headlight bulbs. People that write articles like this on Google, they just try to get Amazon kickbacks, and so they're gonna list the top bulbs that you can buy on Amazon just based on the lumens. They don't actually do anything. So I actually found this cool website that's called Bulb Facts, and they do really in-depth testing with halogen, aftermarket LEDs, HIDs, all of that. They've been around for years. Pretty good group. They're unbiased. They don't take any kickbacks when they do reviews. So I actually saw that one of the bulbs that I was going to buy from Amazon was not that good, and I was actually looking at getting last fit headlight bulbs, and they actually don't perform that well. So I decided to go on here, and pretty much you guys can do this too. So I have projector low beam headlights. So it's going to tell you the lux, which tells you how much light is actually being shot out and hitting an object, because lumens can just scatter everywhere. So yeah, here's your lumens on a halogen. Mine are probably even worse than this. I have no idea, but they were pretty bad in my ionic. So you go and they actually have little categories, and it's always updating and changing. So Cougar is actually pretty decent, and Katanas. You got lux of like 516, 514. Then you got these brands for the mid-tier, but I wanted the best of the best. So I went down here, and actually before they updated this website, these Luma Brights were the best at the time. And so their lux was 609 and this many lumens, which is less than what some of the Amazon brands advertise. But again, you need a bulb that's going to push the light forward, not just scatter it. So lumens don't matter if they're not traveling. But these are the ones I got. As you guys can see, it is the top bulb on the premium options. Insane. Usually just goes to 5, but it's way above the pack. Pretty good lumens, not the best, but you know, you got to go straight from the actual dealer and the source. A lot of people have argued that HIDs were the best of all of the bulbs for projector headlights, and you know, reflectors are pretty good. I guess I'll click the reflectors. So my reflector beams are actually just the high beams. So we go down again. They're the best. They actually have more lux for some reason, but you know, projectors don't blind people as much and they can throw the light a little bit farther. But that's a really good crazy high beam headlight. That's, yeah, like the halogens are only around like 800, so these are pretty much like the power of the sun. You start getting kind of diminishing returns, so you know, if you don't want the best of the best, just, you know, find something that's probably cheaper. I mean, obviously they have the prices, so you know, is it worth paying $30 more just to get 2% better of a high beam on your headlights? $30 more, 160 versus 190. That's up to you, depends on your budget. But yeah, so for a while, see, we'll go over to HID. So they're only projectors. Everyone said how bright they were, so we'll go to the best kits because that's all we care about in this video is best of the best. So the best lux I guess you could possibly get before was 601, which when people were saying that you cannot get the best of the best for LEDs mixing in with projectors and how HIDs are the way to go for projectors. Oops, let me switch it. I mean, yeah, the other one was barely above 6, so I mean, the Luma Brights, again, they were #1 for LEDs and projectors. So they were literally pretty much tied with the best HIDs that you could get. And then once you started going down, again, these are the premiums. They were actually less bright than HIDs. So yes, in projector housings, HIDs were brighter, and for 90%, 99% of headlights out there, HIDs are still brighter than LEDs at the time of filming this video, which is on the 5th of April, and these bulbs came out, the top ones came out the end of March. So it's pretty much taken all the way till 2021 to be able to beat HIDs with LEDs when it comes to a projector housing. So I mean, you guys can check out the site if you guys are doing research. It's pretty cool. I really like it. It helped me not to buy some Amazon ones or some other overpriced bulbs from other companies. So you do reviews. Again, these are the top ones. Newest review. Boom. They got it. Literally, actually just published. I don't know these guys. But the resources really helped me out. So, yeah, the brighter the bright. How do they get bright? It's going to be #1 in both categories. Brightest LED on the whole market. Yep. Okay. Well, I got projectors. So insane, 3 times the distance, way more. You know, LEDs are usually not good with projectors. This even acknowledges it. So yeah, and then it has all these the data. And they do a bunch of reviews on other bulbs. Here at this parking lot, there are some street lights, so it's not perfectly pitch black, and we do have city ambient lights. But this is the halogens, and we will see the distance is about that far. These are the bright and halogens. And now my girlfriend's going to turn her LEDs on. And as you can see, she's got a much more white color temperature. And it appears her light is kind of longer. So halogens, her LEDs, hers are just straight from the factory. It looks like the beam patterns are a little bit different though because of the bulbs. But yeah, definitely a wider color temperature, more illumination right next to my Ionix halogen. And hers are low beams. And it actually darkens when I zoom in just because of the camera. But if you guys are looking at this, you can definitely tell that her low beams go farther than mine, which is kind of funny because the IIHS rated her beams of actually being less than mine. Turn your headlights off. Turn them on. So yeah, hers are projecting farther and they're brighter. So we're going to see what an aftermarket LED looks like compared to factory OEM actually. My Ionic, her LEDs and her Corolla Hybrid. Yeah, brighter hotspot in front. And then obviously her beam projects farther. So here's the package it comes in. Some people care about unboxings. And you get the foam and these, obviously the lights, I don't want to say they're heavy, but they're definitely very solid and high quality. So yeah, I'm assuming the little decoder thing is in there, and that's it. So we're gonna go try to set these up and plug them in. Okay, so this is from the inside of my car. Just parked. That's the halogens. And that's the LEDs. And they're actually so bright that they're overpowering even the left side just from the extra lumens. So they're like overpowering the hot spot from the halogens. So this is pretty crazy. Let's see the high beams. Dude, this is like not even a contest. You can see a little bit of the halogen. A little bit. Halogen's the left side. Holy crap. Not even a contest. These are also like only half on, so I definitely gotta toggle them a little more. High beam difference. Tried to do the same angle, same settings, everything's the same as last time with the halogens, the street lights. So it definitely projects farther and has more illumination in the distance, so you don't really have to focus as much. Obviously the light on the ground is definitely brighter, and I think it overall looks a lot cooler. Really looks good, this headlight color on a black car. Same manual camera settings as the other night, but obviously I have the LEDs now. Hers are stock, so we're lined up. Mine definitely look brighter in terms of the hot spot, as you can see. Alright, turn yours off. And turn them back on. Hers are definitely a little yellower. Turn them off. Back on. Now we'll get a front view. Yeah, mine definitely have a little more of a bluish tint, which is cool. You can definitely just see the overall brightness. Let's see what these brights do. I can see a lot of these trees. So these are taken a few days apart, same spot, halogens, and then I upgraded, went back to the same place. And you can just see a huge difference in the overall illumination. You can see all of this noise just because the camera is trying really hard to pick up whatever. This actually looks darker than it was in person. Like, the human eye obviously has like HDR abilities, you can see more. So the sky was actually pretty decent. You could see a little mini forest back here. But just for comparison's sake, these are cameras with the exact same shutter speed, ISO, exposure, all of that. So you can kind of see some softness in these shadows, and then boom, extremely defined hard shadows from the LEDs. The highlights are kind of blown out in this little plant, and then here, like, it's all mushy and you can barely even tell or see. Same thing with this little cement patch that I guess they tried to fill in, and then there's a curb back here. You can barely see it's pitch black here. Obviously you can see it here, and then you can see the outline and more colors of this little island thing. Here it's all blurry. You can't even see the bottom of the tree here, but you can see the bottom of the tree here. So think about that in real world distance, and how, you know, there may be a deer or some object up ahead, and if you can't even see this but you can see that, like this, these are scary to drive in. So you're also getting more true to life colors, because I think you can see a little bit of like purples in these little flowers where you can't see anything here. So the white light is helping you see in clear weather for the most part a lot more color accurate things. So you can definitely see the light, you know, between these two islands. You can see the actual pavement, and then here you can't see anything. You know, maybe a little bit of the moon is kind of illuminating it, but in terms of the yellow coming out of the halogen, it's just an abyss back here. and then this you can actually see. And yeah, so definitely a lot brighter, and it's going farther. Again, in person, these were actually sending light even farther. So again, big difference between all of this. Again, here's another side-by-side comparison, trying to line up the same shots, so feel free to pause it. This is a quicker one. Can't really see the trees back here, and you can see the trees and the stumps back here. Sharper shadows, more detail everywhere, wider beam pattern. You can see the lines on the parking spaces, and just overall more light info and detail you can see, which should help in night driving. Some cons for the bulbs are the fan noise is kind of loud. Most people won't notice it because they have an engine that's running, but I have a hybrid, so when I'm in EV mode and it's silent, you can definitely hear the fans, and it kind of takes away that silent EV mode thing that's going on. But most people, again, won't really notice a problem. Another issue is the backing is kind of big. So for my car, I have an Ioniq and it needs an extended dust cap. So I'm going to have to custom make that because the bulb won't fully screw back on. Not the bulb, but the extended dust cap. So they definitely need a lot of extra room just to dissipate the heat. And they're kind of too bright. The ground, again, it reflects the light up a lot, so I'm having to try to aim the beam pattern up, and I'm tinkering with that, so the beam pattern should be improved by the next video when I go to Arizona and Utah next month, and we'll do some like really crazy pitch black, really long, nothing obstructing the view tests there. So again, this video is mostly just trying to show off these new insanely bright bulbs that work amazingly well in a projector housing. And then the reflectors for the high beams, it's like the power of the sun.